Alrighty, here we are on the InfoWars. Germany's Stern magazine calls for conscriptions of young people to take up arms to defend diversity in pro-war propaganda piece. So when they're talking about defending diversity, I'm guessing they're not talking about Germany's native diversity, i.e., the native ethnic German population. But anyway, let's get into it. Stern magazine is calling for a mass conscription of German youths to join the army, including to ensure the defense of freedom and diversity. The reaction to the article has been harsh to say the least. Good. With hundreds of negative comments directed at Stern. Nice. The article entitled, Others No Longer Defend Us, Then We Must Defend Ourselves. Well, duh. You should always defend yourself. Claims that the U.S. no longer wants to protect Germany. The U.S. under Trump sees that they're in debt up to their eyeballs, so they can't afford to protect everybody around the world. Our unbearable complacency must end. Well, it should have never have started in the first place. So basically this article is from this guy. He'd probably never have to worry about getting drafted, but he wants all the youth to get drafted because, that's how it goes. Old people start wars and the young die in them. This Tillman guy, he wants the youths to fight for the fatherland, but why should they? Traditionally speaking, people fought for their nation because of pride in their nation. What pride is there to have in their nation? It's not even their nation anymore. Their own politicians literally sold out their countries to the corporations that are now telling the politicians to bring in hundreds of thousands of migrants under the guise of diversity just so that they can have replacement labor and probably cheaper labor at that. Other things to take pride in the nation. Do you have freedom of speech? Not with all these hate speech laws. That's what used to set the West apart from the Soviet Union. Freedom of speech and freedom of the press and freedom of assembly and all that. Not so much anymore. Is that worth fighting for? No. How about fighting to preserve your people, your culture, your language, your people's way of life? Nope, because again, government's bringing in hundreds of thousands of migrants, which is destroying the culture, the people, and the people's way of life. Which, if you think about it, is a form of genocide because the native people of an area are slowly getting eroded and displaced. Here's the wiki terms of genocide. Genocide is violence that targets individuals because of their membership of a group and aims at the destruction of a people. Now, how are the migrants accomplishing this? I've heard stories of women in Germany dyeing their blonde hair black so they're not targeted. That's a form of terror, and targeted means, raped or yeeted, which is very destructive. The term defined as genocide, the destruction of a nation or an ethnic group. Well, Germans are part of the Germanic ethnic group. By means such as disintegration of its political and social institutions. Well, political, their own government selling them out just to make line go up. And social institutions, they're promoting diversity. So what happens when you promote diversity? You brainwash the youth into accepting diversity. But what's that going to do? It's going to lead to the downfall of the native ethnic group. So, is the political structure being disintegrated? No, it's corrupted. And same thing with the social institutions. It's not being disintegrated, they're being corrupted against the native population. Is the culture being disintegrated or the language? Debatable. Those can be taught. What can't be taught is ethnicity, because ethnicity is a group of people that share similar physical characteristics. That is genetic, which cannot be taught. Same thing with racial groups. That's genetic, it can't be taught. what's happening with Western Europe. It's being flooded with non-Caucasian people who aren't native to the various regions of Western Europe. So in this article here, it says intent to destroy a group in whole or in part. Well, sooner or later, the native population is going to go from being a majority to a minority. All you have to do is look at the Native Americans. They went from being a majority in their own land to a minority in their own land. Well, that was depressing. Anyway, take care out there in Clown World.